Hi, I'm Tash. Welcome to Tash's Library. Today's video is going to be my 5-star predictions for 2023. Now, I did try to cut this down to 10 books. However, I do want to represent both backlist books that I'd like to read, as well as 2023 releases that I'm super hyped for. The first book that I'm pretty certain will receive 5 stars from me is Daughter of the Empire by Raymond E. Feist and Jenny Wirtz. The reason for this is that I absolutely adored the Rift War saga, and I'm super keen to continue with this one. I believe this one tells the story that happens in the Rift War saga from a different perspective, and it sounds pretty awesome. I believe this will have awesome world building. If it's anything like the Rift War saga, I think it's going to have pretty cool characterization. Hopefully we get to see some of the characters that I have fallen in love with so far. Cool magic system, hopefully. Really cool premise. I think this will definitely be a 5-star read. And my second 5-star prediction is Weaponized by Neil Asher. I haven't read any in the Polity series, which is what this one is in, but I believe this can work as a standalone. Let me know if it can't, because I do have Jack 4, which apparently comes before this one. So let me know if I have to read that one first. But I reckon this will be a definite 5-star. It's got dinosaurs. It's a big space opera, epic science fiction. And really, dinosaurs in space. How can I not give this 5 stars? I hope I do, because I am so pumped for this one. I also have a series that I have been putting off for so long. And I don't know why, because I'm super looking forward to it, and I've heard nothing but great things about this series. And this starts with The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. From what I hear, it's an awesome epic fantasy with a time travel elements. I'm all for that. I believe it's awesome. This is one of the books that I've had on my shelf for so long, and I keep wanting to put it onto my TBR, but it is quite a chunky little book. And I don't know, I get attracted to new shiny things, and therefore I go to those instead. But I reckon that this will be a clear 5-star read for me. Another one is Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. Now, I did read Grace of Kings in January, and yes, I'll be doing my January wrap-up shortly. And I didn't love Grace of Kings. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a very solid 3 stars. It's really probably more like a 3.5 stars in my opinion. The world building's awesome, the characterization is great, but there's a lot of exposition, I feel. There's a lot of setup for events. And to be honest, I can't see where the story is going to take us from the Grace of Kings. However, I have heard that people who gave Grace of Kings like 3.5 stars have adored Wall of Storms. And therefore, I actually hope and believe that this will be a 5-star read for me. It's just a really beautiful Chinese-inspired epic fantasy with so many characters and awesome, vast worlds. I mean, I'm really hoping I can give this 5 stars. Another one that has almost made it onto my TBR a number of times, and I'm kind of sad it hasn't, because I'm pretty certain I'm going to love it. And that is City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. This, I believe, is an urban type fantasy where the gods have all died, and then there's a murder mystery, and so all these elements that I love. I love urban fantasy. I love murder mysteries within my fantasy. I really like those city settings. I think this sounds pretty cool, and I've heard such great things about Robert Jackson Bennett, and I haven't got around to reading him yet. So this will be a definite 5-star read for me, I believe, in 2023. Another one I'm really looking forward to is The Three-Body Problem by Kixin Liu. Now, I believe this is a hard sci-fi book, and I love hard sci-fi. I love science. I'm all in for this one. I believe it deals with quite deep philosophical issues, and it can be quite dense from what I heard. And some people found it a little bit difficult to get into. However, I love this sort of stuff, and I feel that I am going to enjoy this one a lot. Another 5-star read for me, I believe, is going to be Second Foundation by Isaac Asimov. The reason I'm predicting 5 stars for this one is because I have given 5 stars to Foundation and Empire, and I adored them. And if anything, I enjoyed Foundation and Empire even more than Foundation because the characterization was a little bit more developed. So I'm thinking that Second Foundation is going to be even better, and it's probably going to even surpass my expectations for a 5-star read. Hopefully I am right, because I'd be very disappointed if this series suddenly declined. I love it. It's all about a psychohistorian predicting the end of the empire and then gathering together a foundation to preserve human knowledge. And the ideas in this are amazing. It just classic sci-fi. Another predicted 5-star read is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. The reason I think this is going to be an awesome 5-star read is because I've heard such good things about it on pretty much every BookTube channel I have watched. One of my good friends has also read this and given it 5 stars, and we have very similar tastes. So I'm thinking that I'm going to follow suit. This, I believe, is a sci-fi with a lot of fantasy elements about someone who kills a star and like 4 billion people with it or something. So it sounds pretty epic. I'm liking it. And I've heard that it's a little bit like Name of the Wind, a little bit like Dune, but takes it to a whole new level. And I really enjoyed those. So I think I'm going to enjoy this one as well. And the last physical book that I have that I think is going to be a 5-star is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Now, I believe this has a very hard magic system to do with light and color. I believe that's from what I heard. It's a fantasy book, and I love myself a hard magic system. So, for example, Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn and Warbreaker. I love those magic systems, and I'm thinking I'm going to expect something a little bit similar to this one. I've also had people recommend this one, and these are people who have enjoyed books that I have loved immensely. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very clear 5-star for me. I then have one that I have on Kindle, and this is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is a sci-fi novel that I believe deals with first contact with a different species. I love first contact books. I love exploration sci-fi books, and I've heard such great things about this one. And yes, it features spiders, and I don't mind spiders. I actually think it's kind of cool, like sentient spiders. Yeah, I think this is going to be a 5-star for me as well. Another one I have on Kindle is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I've heard great things about this one as well. I believe it's a fantasy with a lot of horror elements, but also a little bit surreal and funny. And it involves a missing god and this library that has the secrets to the universe and all these kids who've been trained in arcane stuff. These are all buzzwords for me. I mean, anything set in a library, that kind of gothic feel. I'm hoping it has a gothic feel, but I'm thinking that this is going to be a unique book that I'm going to love. One of my other 5-star predictions I don't have yet, I haven't purchased, but I plan to. It's The World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. This is the sequel to The City We Became, which I read in January this month, and I adored that book. It is so amazing that I cannot wait to read the sequel. And I think it's just going to be a clear 5-star read before I've even started it, really. So The City We Became is about New York City and the different avatars that represent different boroughs. And it's just so unique and so interesting. And I just couldn't stop reading. So I think, yeah, I can't wait to get to the sequel. I also have a non-fiction book, and this is The Rise and Reign of Mammals by Steve Brusatte. The reason for this is I read The Rise and Fall of Dinosaurs by the same author, and I adored this book. I read it in like a day, which is so unusual for me when it comes to nonfiction, because I tend to dawdle. I kind of lose concentration a little bit of nonfiction. And my standard approach to nonfiction is I love the first third, the second third is and then I tend to DNF or just kind of lose interest for the final third. This one I could not put down, and I was so sad it was over. And so I'm thinking that his other book on mammals will also be a 5-star, even though I do love dinosaurs way more. But I still just think his writing style was so engaging. The way he got you to truly understand really quite complex topics in such a fascinating way, such a simple way. And I'm thinking that this is going to be absolutely wonderful. And my last 2 5-star predictions haven't been released yet because they're 2023 releases. The first one is The Terraformers by Annalee Newitz. This has been described as similar to Becky Chambers. It's, I think from what I can tell, a kind of very optimistic, sort of cozy sci-fi. And I love anything to do with terraforming planets. And if it's got anything even close to what Becky Chambers has done with her Wayfarers series, I am going to adore this book. And this is one of my auto buys for this year. And my final one is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero Lacruz. And this is the first book in the Warring Gods series. I'm not sure how many there are going to be, but this sounds great. The cover looks so beautiful. It's got animals. I love animals. But even more so than this, it's this kind of lush world inspired by the history and folklore of South America. An epic fantasy of colonialism, ancient magic, and 2 young women's quest for belonging. Yeah, South American setting, wonderful, ancient magic, and having some of those deeper concepts of colonialism and belonging. It speaks to me, and I shall be looking forward to this one. And I'm really thinking this is going to be a 5-star read. So that's it. They're my 15 5-star predictions for 2023. We shall see next year how accurate I was. Hopefully I actually get to all these books, because 15's a lot, right? And they got to somehow get onto my TBR. But I am going to prioritize these because I'm thinking that I'm going to love them, and therefore they're going to be good reads for 2023. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. It makes me super happy. And until I see you next time, take care.